A peaceful town suddenly transformed like a transformer, causing the ground to shrink layer by layer. The stalls automatically folded up. People panicked and rushed out. Many ruined houses turned into steel fortresses. The next second, black smoke billowed up. The town grew wheels and rushed madly into the distance. It turned out that a woman using binoculars saw a giant monster weighing tens of millions of tons appear at the foot of the mountain. She immediately recognized that it was a city that specialized in destroying other cities, called London City. It came to swallow towns to prove its superiority. The people of the town were extremely panicked. Meanwhile, the people of London City were celebrating and cheering to destroy the trash people below. The commander of London City watched the prey closely and told the mayor that as long as they swallowed this town, they would have enough energy to maintain London City for a week. As the distance got shorter and shorter, it opened its giant iron mouth, ready to swallow its prey. But Peter suddenly turned the wheel, leaving a trail of smoke behind him in a provocative manner. London City immediately accelerated and used 100 times more powerful engine to close the distance. The town could only spew black smoke and run away frantically. They even forgot to retract the robotic arm. They could not gain any distance at all. To reduce weight, everyone was forced to dump all the food, which helped increase their speed a little. But due to lack of energy, they were caught up by the monster before long. At this time, Peter discovered a narrow mountain road in the distance that had just let the town crash into. He immediately turned right, but was blocked by a deep hole. With no other choice, Peter had to turn the wheel sharply, causing the town to almost fall into the abyss. The town shook violently on the deep pit terrain. The water tank fell to the ground. The wheels could not withstand the impact and shook and fell. London City immediately launched 4 iron hooks at a speed of 800 kilometers per hour, crashing straight into the town. The iron chains were tense, wanting to use gravity to pull down their prey. At this point, they could no longer run. London City opened its mouth wide like hell. Its steel teeth dug into the ground and lifted the entire town up, then pulled it into its stomach and swallowed it all. The entire town had become the source of energy to keep London City alive. The residents of the town would be turned into slaves to serve the local people. It turned out that this was the future of 2030. 1,000 years ago, the Third World War broke out. The cruel weapons of nuclear cannons and particle beam cannons bombarded everywhere. In just 1 hour, human civilization was completely destroyed. Even the continental plates were shattered into 80 pieces. The remaining survivors could only barely survive. They began to rebuild their civilization. Gradually, 2 major forces were formed. The Mountain City tribe built a strong fortress 3,000 meters high. They lived on the Himalayan plateau and believed in living in harmony with nature. The Mechanical Alliance created mobile cities. They believed in the theory that the strong survive and the weak die. They constantly roamed the planet and devoured other towns. London City became the leader of the alliance. It searched day and night for ancient technological relics. The statue of Millions was also considered an ancient god and worshipped in the museum. Many statues even wore headphones on their heads. Even a smashed iPhone was considered a mysterious treasure and displayed in a glass cabinet for admiration. However, the future human race has developed technology to the point where they still use mice to generate electricity. They can only see how the Earth used to exist through the remaining ancient tapes. The female lead's name is Hester. During the chaos, she sneaks into the crowd of the town and quietly hides the dagger on her waist. At this time, the commander arrives. He recognizes the young man holding an extremely rare toaster made in the 21st century. Knowing that the young man's name is Tom, he also shows Tom the super energy battery he just found. Hester suddenly pulls out a knife and stabs the commander in the side. She says, "This is for my mother, Pandora." Hearing that name, the commander's eyes immediately widen and he is extremely surprised. Tom suddenly rushes forward and desperately stands between Hester and the commander to block the attack. Thaddius, who has always been kind, immediately thinks that she is an assassin. Thaddius ripped off Hester's mask, revealing a horrifying scar on her face. At that moment, a large number of guards rushed in. Hester was forced to retreat. She jumped into the air and rushed straight into the town that was about to be destroyed. Tom refused to give up. He followed and ran into the city's steel cutting area. At the same time, a giant saw blade 700 meters long was cutting the town in half. Sparks flew everywhere. The ground cracked into deep furrows. Both of them ran frantically in the cracks. They kept dodging the incoming saw blade. Hester quickly ran to the city's garbage disposal. She was about to jump down when Tom caught her. There was no way Hester could tell Tom that Thaddius was a hypocrite. Many years ago, Thaddius brutally killed her mother for his own purposes. They had no idea who Thaddius really was. She pulled his hand away and fell into the pipe to escape. At this time, Thaddius also caught up. Tom was confused and told Thaddius all of Hester's words. Unexpectedly, Thaddius looked at Tom from head to toe and then suddenly kicked the railing and pushed Tom down. Thaddius turned around and smiled at his daughter and the guard. Thaddius Thaddius pretended to be sad and said Tom was a good kid. Tom sacrificed himself to protect Thaddius. Tom died with the assassin. Thaddius's daughter was Tom's best friend, so she was extremely sad. Tom and Hester were thrown out of London City, but they were only slightly injured. Tom gradually realized that Hester was the good guy and Thaddius was the bad guy. Tom immediately chased after Hester. The two followed the deep trenches that the city had just plowed to continue moving forward. When they were thirsty, they drank muddy water. When they were hungry, they ate bread from 1,000 years ago. Hester even gave Tom half of it, which made him suspicious. She said this was very delicious and nutritious. It was very popular since the old days. But the dark night on the plateau was full of danger. Seeing the light in the distance, Tom immediately shouted for help. But this attracted a city of robbers. The two fled again. The fortress continuously shot out hooks to capture the two. In a critical moment, Hester was cut in the thigh by the hook while protecting Tom. At that moment, the two suddenly fell underground. These slave hunters did not see their prey and left. As soon as the danger passed, the rocks underground suddenly emitted steam. The layers of rock crumbled. Two large headlights turned on from below. It turned out that there was a giant mechanical centipede hidden underground. An old couple living there saved the two. The old woman also made tea for the guests. She enthusiastically told them to rest and recover. Hester's wound was bandaged. Hester lay on the bed and told Tom that many years ago, Thaddius and her mother had been archaeologists. One day, Pandora discovered an ancient relic engraved with a strange symbol. Thaddius immediately became greedy. In order to take it, Thaddius killed people. Thaddius also set fire to destroy all the evidence. Hester, who was only 8 years old at that time, did not escape. The scar on her face was caused by him. She risked her life to run into the swamp and was lucky to keep her life. Meanwhile, in another place, Thaddius was afraid that the secret would be revealed, so he went to an offshore prison to meet an assassin named Stalker. Its power could dent even a refined iron cage. Stalker had lived for hundreds of years. Stalker did not need to sleep and was extremely dangerous. But the most frightening thing was that Stalker kept screaming Hester's name. Stalker was determined to catch her because she had broken the promise of the past. Thaddius asked if Stalker caught her, what would he do? A voice from the underworld replied, "I will kill it." Stalker had the same thought as Thaddius. Stalker was the perfect tool for Thaddius to kill Hester and hide the secret. Thaddius boarded the ship and bombarded the prison at sea, causing it to be engulfed in smoke and fire. The cage also exploded and cracks appeared. Stalker immediately used both hands to squeeze hard. Its whole body glowed green and easily tore the cage apart. The waves rolled. Stalker stepped out of the water and began his pursuit of Hester. But at the same time, Tom discovered that the door to the room was locked by the old couple. They could not open it at all. The direction of the mechanical centipede was also wrong. It was rushing towards the slave market in the south. It turned out that the old couple were notorious human traffickers in the desert. They intended to sell both of them for money. Tom tried to pry open the floor to jump out with Hester, but the couple broke in and forced them to go to the slave market. For only 6 coins, an 80-year-old woman could be bought as a wife. A young man bid on her. The next person was Hester. The slave owner looked down on her because of her scarred face. Even if she couldn't do this, she wouldn't mind doing something else. Hester's starting price was 7 coins. A strong man immediately offered 8 coins, an unusually high price, but his purpose was to cut Hester's flesh into smoked ham. He was extremely fond of women and children in the most perverse way. Just as the transaction was about to be completed, a girl wearing sunglasses appeared and shouted to stop the bidding. Her name was Anna Fang, a famous wanted person in the Mechanical Alliance. The reward was 500,000 coins if anyone could find her. Anna Fang immediately offered 10,000. This amount of money was enough for Anna Fang to buy all the slaves here. However, the host, greedy for the reward, aimed for the 500,000 coins bounty. He completely underestimated their strength. Anna Fang immediately sneered. She pulled out a huge 3-barreled gun. She used the heavy weapon to crush all 4 of them. Hester quickly picked up the pistol and shot his chains to pieces. The two took advantage of the chaos to run away, but suddenly they turned around and looked back. Unexpectedly, Stalker had already caught up. Stalker's expression was cold and fierce. Without thinking much, they immediately climbed onto the giant wheel of the city to avoid being pursued. But Stalker was like walking on ice. Stalker could jump up to 10 meters. Stalker quickly forced the two into a corner. Just as Stalker raised his right hand to prepare to attack, a missile suddenly shot towards him, knocking him aside and temporarily rendering him incapable of action. Anna Fang shouted for the two to quickly get on the train. Without thinking much, Tom immediately helped Hester climb up and run away, but Stalker quickly recovered and stood up. The balloon immediately took off. Hester let go of the rope for Tom to climb up, but Stalker stepped on the rope and held on with both hands, trying to pull the balloon down. The engine couldn't move, and it gradually lowered. Hester immediately threw the knife to Tom and told him to cut the rope. Thanks to the counterforce, the balloon immediately bounced up up and escaped Stalker's control. But Stalker turned to look at another balloon nearby and immediately rushed to chase. After this incident, the relationship between Tom and Hester became closer. Anna Fang switched to autopilot mode and began to treat Hester's wound. But Hester wondered why Anna Fang saved them. Anna Fang replied that she was an old friend of Hester's mother. Many years before Anna heard the news of Pandora's death, Anna had always been looking for Hester's whereabouts. But Anna could not find the answer to why an 8-year-old child like Hester could survive all these years. It turned out that after Thaddius slashed her face, Hester risked her life to escape and fainted in the swamp. It was Stalker who saved her. He also picked up a necklace left by her mother. To make Hester happy, Stalker made crafts every day. Stalker collected the broken pieces of old dolls and made many toys for her. Although clumsy, it was a sincere love like that of a father. To provide nutrition for Hester, Stalker also went to great lengths to find cans from 1,000 years ago and poured them on a plate and told her to eat them all. Despite his fierce appearance, Stalker was like a kind father. One day, Hester found an old photo and discovered that Stalker was once human. Although he had become a machine, he still retained some humanity. Stalker treated Hester as his daughter and took care of her. As Hester grew up, Stalker realized that she was always suffering from memories of the past. Stalker came up with an idea. On Hester's 18th birthday, Stalker created a complete mechanical body. Stalker wanted to let Hester die and then put her brain into that body so that she would live with him forever and become an immortal robot. From there, he erased all of Hester's sad memories so that she could live carefree. That was what Stalker wanted to do because of his love for Hester. Hester actually agreed, but unexpectedly, the next day, Hester discovered that Thaddius was hiding in London City. She swore to avenge her mother, so she left at night. And from there, the opening scene of the story happened. When he discovered that Hester had disappeared, Stalker was extremely angry. Stalker immediately went crazy and thought that Hester had betrayed their promise. Stalker was determined to capture her to complete the transformation. After a day and a night of continuous flying, they arrived at the headquarters of the Anti-Mobile City Association. Everyone gathered in the conference room to discuss how to fight the Mechanical Alliance. According to intelligence, Thaddius was secretly manufacturing a dangerous weapon. Tom recalled Thaddius's words. He was always looking for super energy batteries. It must be to activate some ancient technology. Tom drew a symbol on the paper. Hester immediately recognized it as the symbol on the stolen box. It turned out that the box was the starting system of the nuclear fission cannon. If Thaddius could activate it, no force could resist the Mechanical Alliance. It turned out that London City's energy source had been almost exhausted a long time ago. They had to continuously devour the cities on the ground. Now there was only the opposition faction in the Himalayas. Thaddius had been quietly waiting for the right time. The ancient weapon finally recovered. Particle cannon was immediately directed at Seudul. The mayor feared that cannon would cause the mainland to fall into a disaster like the one that had destroyed humanity 1,000 years ago, so he insisted on deactivating it. But with just one look from Thaddius, the door was immediately closed. Thaddius pulled out his gun and shot the mayor dead. Then he went up to give a speech. London City turned east, marching day and night, preparing to attack Seudul. Suddenly, the city in the sky exploded. Stalker piloted the airship and chased after him. Stalker was nearly 2.8 meters tall, so normal bullets could not penetrate him. As for the cold weapons, they were completely useless. In front of Stalker, humans were no different from chickens. They were thrown away by Stalker in just a few seconds. In the critical situation, Anna Fang told the two to run ahead so she could block Stalker's way. Anna raised her leg high and used the heel of her shoe with a knife to pierce Stalker's energy core and bought them some time to retreat. But Stalker still did not let go. He roared and broke through the shield and rushed towards them. Stalker grabbed Tom's neck and raised it to finish him off. Hester rushed forward to stop him. She cried and begged him not to hurt Tom. Her tears awakened the remaining humanity in Stalker. Stalker suddenly stopped and his eyes became hazy. Stalker looked at Hester and asked if she had fallen in love with that guy. Hester also admitted. Seeing that she had a place to rely on, Stalker lost all hope of treatment and collapsed to the ground. She quickly supported him, but Stalker gave Hester a necklace and told her to live a good life from now on. Hester's tears flowed. At this point, Stalker probably had no reason to live anymore, so he collapsed. She was so heartbroken that she cried out in despair, because Hester had always considered Stalker as her biological father. In the dying moment, Stalker recalled the memories with Hester and the explanations of past. Hester's happiness was Stalker's happiness. In the last moment, Stalker used his large human hand to hold Hester's small hand and passed away peacefully. Just before the city in the sky collapsed, everyone managed to leave by airship. They crossed the Himalayas and headed towards the Alliance's shelter. A majestic scene appeared. Along the way were the ruins left after the attack of the Mechanical Alliance. When they entered the city wall, they saw a beautiful plateau plateau landscape. The city was built against the mountain, layer upon layer. The leader of this place knew the purpose of Anna's group, so they immediately launched the air defense alarm. 800 anti-aircraft guns were erected on the fence. They discovered that London City was constantly approaching Shanguo. They immediately mobilized 100 airships to take the initiative to attack first. But an unusual purple-red light suddenly appeared. It was the sign that the ancient weapon was about to fire. After only 2 seconds, a bright lightning bolt flashed and hit the city wall. The terrifying energy immediately tore apart an area within a radius of 1 kilometer, even creating a temporary black hole, entering and destroying all the surrounding matter. Immediately after that, the shockwave spread for thousands of kilometers. The city was immediately engulfed in flames. Shanguo was torn into a large hole. After the attack, the nuclear cannon slowly lowered and began to recharge for the next shot. At this time, Hester suddenly discovered that the eye on the cannon was very similar to that wire. She opened the lid, and inside was a hard drive with a USB port. Tom realized that this was the secret to turning off the ancient weapon. However, to stop it, they had to enter London City. Anna Fang immediately led her teammates onto the ship. Unexpectedly, they had just gone back to the fortress when all the lights went out. That was the signal for the next firing. The lightning bolt that was 20 kilometers high continued to strike the fortress wall. This time, the destructive power was even more terrifying. The shockwave swept over and overturned the entire airship. Shanguo was completely destroyed. It could not withstand the next attack. The brutal Thaddius shouted madly again. He left them no way back. In just 4 minutes, Thaddius could launch the next attack to completely destroy the entire enemy force. The people of London City also clapped and cheered in unison to celebrate the upcoming victory. When Anna had just stabilized the airship, the other side immediately launched countless artillery shells at them. Under the heavy rain of artillery, the teammates who had cleared the way ahead destroyed most of the artillery stations, but they also sacrificed themselves one after another for the mission. Anna Fang tried to endure. Finally, they landed on the top floor. Anna left Tom to pilot the aircraft while she stayed behind to support. At this point, there was less than a minute left before the weapon would fire. The cannon had locked onto Shanguo. At the crucial moment, Anna raised her gun to shoot Thaddius, but he used the guards as shields. Taking advantage of the chaos, he fired a few rounds, injuring Anna. On the other side, Hester had reached the ancient weapon. There were only 30 seconds left before firing. Anna Fang blocked Thaddius's steps. Hester pulled out the hard drive and plugged it into the weapon's control panel. The weapon shutdown procedure began. There were only 10 seconds left. Thaddius tried to rush forward to stop him, but Anna desperately held him back. Finally, the nuclear cannon was disabled. The cannons were overheated after many firings, completely broken and unusable. Thaddius went completely crazy when he saw this. Thaddius killed all the pilots of London City. Thaddius accelerated the ship straight into the wall. Thaddius didn't even need his daughter. Thaddius piloted another ship to escape. Tom realized something was wrong, so he recklessly piloted the plane into London City. Tom fired a rocket to destroy its engine, but due to inertia, this invincible fortress continued to move forward. On the other side, Hester blocked Thaddius. When he saw that there was no way out, Thaddius suddenly changed his expression. Thaddius literally said that he was Hester's father, but she didn't care at all. Stalker was her father. She jumped onto the rescue plane that was coming. Tom pressed the cannon button. A shot hit Thaddius's wing, and he fell. Thaddius was lucky to survive, but the next second he was run over by London City's giant tracks. Finally, this fortress stopped right in front of Shanguo. After this crisis, the people of London City finally realized the horror of war and understood the precious value of peace. They surrendered. The leader here also decided to let go of hatred and open his arms to welcome refugees from London City. Together, they rebuilt their homeland. From then on, the world returned to peace. Meanwhile, Hester and Tom flew a plane and wandered around the world and lived a happy and free life. The movie Motor Engine ends here. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and see you again in the next videos.